here's the video review for ToyWorld's D04 Iron DREG, their version of Slag or Slug or whatever you want to call him. I still call him Slag because it's just me. He comes in the same big box full of styrofoam. And what I found out when I was bringing them in, I just pulled the styrofoam out and threw all the Dinobots out so far into that box. So there's a lot of extra room in the styrofoam. But anyway, yeah, here he is. He comes with his gun, which again, like all the others, can come out and make it into a little pistol if you want. He comes with his gun, a little baggie with the instruction sheet, bio card, and sticker, like all the others. And his horns, like his gun comes in a separate, and his horns actually come in a separate little baggie. And they just plug into his head. You can pop them off if you want. I guess one, because they're separate chromed pieces, probably easier to manufacture that way, as well as the fact that, like, if one breaks, a little easy to repair, replace a horn if something does happen to it. Now, getting the replacement part may be an issue depending on who you bought from, but there you go. I mean, he's in the same aesthetic as all the other dinos. I mean, he looks really cool. I like him. He's got an opening mouth here in dinosaur mode, and he's got, you know, basic articulation here. Shoulders on the feet, the toes move a little bit. He's got a thigh swivel on both of his legs. Stuff. And you can see in this one, you can kind of see the evolution of the design process. Like, clearly he fits the same aesthetic. He's not a drastic departure from any of the other dinos in the line. There's a few things he does in the transformation to robot mode that they've done before, and they've kind of done better here. Mostly Snarl, but we'll show that off here when we get to it. He's got some little tail guns. If you want to flip those up, and kind of give him a tail gun, and those will play out later on in robot mode. So yeah. There's Dino Mode. And to transform him, it's pretty basic. It's actually not too hard. You can grab his whole rear end and extend it. That reveals the hidden joint for his arm mode, which is nice. It's nice that they have a dedicated, really nice clicky ratchet for when he's in arm mode. And it also helps facilitate the transformation, because rather than trying to pry these pieces loose to flip them out, you can just extend that whole waist piece, and then any of these tabs don't become an issue at all, which is really nice. So yeah, we start that off. We'll go ahead and split his tail here, and then flip his legs down and around. Okay, those ratchets there. So yeah, flip the legs down and around. And here's where I was talking about, his feet down, with Snarl. His legs, his dino legs here and the robot legs work a lot the way that Snarl's did, in that you flip these to the inside. But in this case, instead of having this kind of jam up in there and, you know, fold at a weird angle, the lower leg actually splits here. And because it's got a hinge there as well for the dinosaur mode to make his legs move, this piece rotates a little bit. So getting these hinges out and around and staying straight can be a little bit of an issue. You can see that piece is kind of rocking back and forth. But once you get it all pushed up in there, it's fine. This whole piece flips around, and then this tab is going to tab in here again on the inside. But that allows it provides a much wider surface here inside the foot, and you can bring his toes down, and they're nice. They're not loose or anything. They're nice, solid joints there at the toe. So you can give them a really good functional heel, and it makes, even though it kind of does the same thing that Snarls did. You know, Snarls, you had to position just right to keep him from falling backwards. And the way they designed this, it works out a lot better. It gives him a much more solid and stable leg in robot mode, which is nice to see. So we'll do the same thing over here. There we go. And plug it in, just like that. And we'll fold his legs. Tail down here on the legs. There we go. And then his knees actually are double jointed. You can bring his knees up like that. Help support him. Click forward at the waist. And he stands nice and solidly. You can see he's not, even with all this stuff, you know, he's a little top heavy now with the dinosaur head. But the way those legs transform give you some nice solid heel pieces back here to keep him standing up, which I really appreciate. Then here you open up his back panel here. around the arms, and this thing can kind of come out and plug in to his lower back. I actually want to collapse the waist. You can slide that down and lower that out of the way a little bit. His arms, and again, also the arms. He's got the same kind of fists that can be kind of hard to reach in here to flip out. And on the other figures like Sledge and Snarl, I'd use a weapon to get in there and flip them out. But the way they've done the dino feet here, since they sit on the front of his arms, you can actually take this dinosaur foot, bend it down a little bit, and then when you pull it back up, it'll help pop that fist out. Much easier process than a couple of the other ones. I do like the line in general, but like getting those fists out was always a little bit of a pain. And now they make it so it happens much easier, much more fluidly, which I super do appreciate. When you rotate the arms, and you rotate not just... There is articulation, like you said, when he's in dinosaur mode, these side pieces stay in place. But when you rotate the arm down here in robot mode, you can see it rotates forward and brings some little like shoulder gun detailing into place with the whole thing. You have to try and hold those in place, but you can see the arm does rotate independently there. But it's nice that he kind of brings out some detail here. Here's his combiner peg for arm mode that'll flip out when you're ready to use that. And I found that like the way he came packaged, the combiner joint was one click up, which kept his head from locking into place here on this tab very well. And if that happens, just come back here and just push that. Make sure that combiner port is pushed all the way down, folded all the way back, and then you shouldn't have any problems getting the head to stay in place. So you open up his mouth, and his whole head flips out. And this is what I was talking about. This there's a little tab right here that pegs into a slot here on the bottom of the jaw, and locks that whole assembly in place. And if that combiner port's sticking up, even one little click, it makes this keep popping off. It doesn't quite bend all the way down flat because of that combiner port. So if you push that combiner port down, you can tab that in securely right there. And then the dino head itself, kind of lift up his frill is on a hinge, so you kind of lift that up a little bit, and you can pull the whole dinosaur head back away from the head and onto his back. And you can rotate the horns if you wish. And that gives brings his head out from the shell and gives him the clearance. And there he is in robot mode. And he's a nice looking slag. I like it. Very cool. He can hold his pistol, obviously, or his gun. I guess a rifle like that, pistol if you pull the whole end cannon out. The wings you can fold out. You can position them however you wish on his back. But yeah, all in all, you can see like even here, his thigh, he's actually leaning back a little bit at the knee, and he's still not falling backwards, even with all of this on here. This different leg transformation in the legs is really nice. We'll straighten his legs out here. And there he is. Now, I mentioned that the tail guns here, and that's kind of how they function in alt mode, and I don't even know if they're supposed to be tail guns, but they kind of look like it when you flip them up. But these whole pieces come out like this and flip up to give him some axes. He doesn't come with the sword like the other ones do, but he does come with a pair of these axes if you want to give him both of them or whatever. If you want him to have more of a melee weapon, he does come with two of them attached inside his tail, which is cool. Yeah, also the gun doesn't really have a storage space, certainly not on the back in dinosaur mode. And it doesn't fit in like the shoulder ports in dinosaur mode, but there's the peg hole here at the knee joint, and same on the rear leg right here that the gun can store. You can attach the gun to the dinosaur mode if you want to do that. This way. Well, that just sits there on the tab in the leg. Articulation-wise, he's got a ball joint head. He can look... He's got a pretty decent amount of downward movement as well. Up and down, side to side. The shoulders, you can pull the shoulders out if you want to give him a little bit more articulation that way. And they rotate forward. This whole piece right here can rotate as well. He's got a bicep swivel, dual hinged elbows here and here. He does have a wrist swivel, and his fingers open. Again, all one piece, but his fingers do open there. In robot mode, he does have a waist swivel, which is nice. Even with that combiner port and everything in there, still got the waist swivel. Hips that ratchet in both directions. He's got the double jointed knees. Again, you can bring him up down here, and there's a hinge in there if you want to collapse him a little bit. I mean, he does have, it's not a full ankle tilt through the whole foot, but the front part of his toe does tilt, just like some of the other earlier robots. So if you put him in a wider stance, he can support it. And again, with the way these dinosaur mode legs transform, you can get some good stable poses out of him, even in some wide-legged action stances if you want. He also included in his box, here on his dinosaur head, he comes with 2 screw covers. One that goes right here on his face, and I may pull this out. There's a little bit of flash off the end of it. I may trim that off. But a little screw that goes in here, and then one that covers a screw back here on his dinosaur head. And in order to access it, you kind of need to bend and get his dinosaur head up and pull the frill all the way back, and you can see there's a screw cover right here. You can see kind of the outline of a screw cover there. And you kind of, like I said, you pull that dinosaur frill back, and you can get it in there. So yeah, a nice version of Slag, and like I said, it fits really well with the other Dinobots, and we'll show them off all together here now. So there he is with Roar. There he is with Muddy. Go ahead and bring him down, and here he is with their Grimlock. We'll zoom out here so you can see those. But yeah, they look really nice together. A great looking set. I'm looking forward to Swoop, who should be, any day now, we should be hearing about Swoop hitting retailers, because I talked to ToyWorld a couple months ago wondering about Swoop, and they said he would ship 9/15. I'm assuming that means 2 retailers. I don't know if they made that date. Maybe he's been delayed or held back a couple of days, but we've seen pictures of him online. He's been starting to make the rounds to some of the overseas photos on Weibo. Not sure how you say that, but he should be coming soon. So if he did ship on time on the 15th, you should see him Swoop start hitting retailers soon, and then you can put the whole combiner together. Now I'm not going to do the whole combine mode right now for this one, and it's been hard. Like, I want to wait until Swoop gets here, so the next time I combine them all, I can put them all together. And it's been hard to resist that. Like, I don't want to put them back into combine mode until I have them all, so you can just see the giant thing. I don't want to put them together with just one arm, but it's really tempting. And if Swoop were, if I thought Swoop were going to be significantly further out, I would probably do it. But we will show them off in combine mode, and I'll show you how to turn them into an arm once Swoop gets here, and we'll do the whole big combiner. But yeah, like I said, it's another. I love his head sculpt. Let me see if I can get him up in here and show off that head sculpt. It's a nice. He's got a blue visor. That is light piped, but again, it's kind of hard to get a decent light source to hit it because it is blocked a lot by the cowl of the dinosaur head. But yeah, I'm happy to have him, and I'm looking forward to Swoop. I don't know, like I said, the Swoop with the red chest, the blue, I've seen the combined mode pictures, and Swoop, I think the main release will have a blue chest. And the blue does kind of stick out in the midst of all the gray and red, but honestly, it's really more the gray and chrome, because you don't see a whole lot of the red of the limbs when they're all folded up into arm mode. A lot of the red gets covered up by things. I think at the waist you'll see some red. And I just feel like even with a red-chested Swoop, it would still be a big spot of red up on the shoulder that's not really present in any large concentration in the rest of the combined mode. A lot of times you're seeing the black and the gray and the gold chrome. But hopefully we'll see some pictures of what the red chest Swoop looks like. But anyway, enough about Swoop. We've been talking about him for over a minute now. There's Iron DREG, their version of Slag, and like I said, this one he may be the most solid of the set yet, and that's saying something, because I really love Snarl. If you've watched my videos, you know that. But like I said, they've just been constantly improving as the line goes on, but not in a way that makes none of the figures stick out as like, that one's newer than this one, aesthetically when you have them all on the shelf. But just from a pure toy perspective, I feel like, Roar was good, Muddy was good, and a little bit better. Their Grimlock I thought was great. Grimshell was really, really good, and this Slag is a really nice looking figure. And like I said, ease of transformation, a lot of little neat design things, like I said, that were updated that really help make him a little easier to transform and a little bit more enjoyable to transform than some of the Roar. But he's a really good looking bot, and I'm glad to have him in my collection.